Thank you for listening to another episode of TeeVo The Beard. This episode has been brought to you in part by social support from Mark Gunn. Find out more about the Celt Father at markgunn.com and look him up on iTunes under Irish and Celtic Music Podcast. It's also been brought to you by support from Blame Your Brother Podcast. You can find out more about them at bybpod.com. And also, of course, we'd like to thank all of our lovely listeners. Thank you and enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of TeeVo The Beard.
You can't see it, but I am TeeVo, and that is The Beard. And thank you for joining us because we are on our lunch hour.
We are, yes. This is lunch hour entertainment.
What is your meal sponsored by?
My meal is sponsored by my wife's good cooking.
Tell us what it is.
It's spaghetti squash made into spaghetti noodles, and then with spaghetti sauce, homemade spaghetti sauce on top.
That sounds great.
It was. And joined, of course, with Seattle's best coffee. Since later in this episode we'll be talking about iZombie, I figured Seattle's best would be the best flavor. There was a good joke in there, and I ruined it. So,
Keurig.
Keurig, yeah.
Essentially, Keurig, please give us stuff.
Yes, give us free coffee, and we'll talk about you all day.
Yeah.
And what's on your plate?
At our fine establishment where we work and record, there is a cafeteria. It was free. Yeah. And edible. Actually edible. Okay. This place doesn't usually get the best reviews, but actually this meal was good. So, yay. Yeah. I had a cheeseburger, a fajita, and a salad.
Interesting combination there.
Well, you know, the ever classic, when you have cafeteria buffet style food, you just get what looks good.
Yeah, you just fill up the plate as much as it can physically handle and move on.
Move on.
Nothing for dessert?
I do have stuff.
Okay.
I do have stuff.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you about that later.
Okay.
Probably off camera. I don't think they'll care.
They don't care about a lot of things we talk about if it's not show related.
That's true.
Yeah, and of
Speaking of things not show related.
I was about to say, we will get to the show, of course, but first we're going to get to know our podcasters.
Yes. So it's come to our attention. First of all, we're going to start off with a question.
Okay.
And then it's going to come to our attention, something we will address. Thank you, Saran, for giving us a question.
Our top listener.
Yeah. So if you want to give the question.
So he asked, what is a time in our lives where we have really stepped in it, really put our foot down our mouth, chewed on some ankle there for a while and said something that we didn't mean to, or possibly that just really came out wrong. So I'm going to start with a funny one first. So before Mrs. The Beard, there was a Mrs. I don't really care for the beard.
Wait, what?
Also known as my first wife.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was married once before, and my face looked like yours. Maybe even less hair on it. You do have a little 5 o'clock mustache coming in.
Oh, okay.
So, the first time I met her family, I used the ever-popular phrase, "Oh, I've been dying to meet you guys."
Sounds innocent.
Right. It was at her grandfather's funeral.
Why did you do that?
Because sometimes my mouth works faster than my brain does.
Now, we're going to play unqualified psychiatrist here.
Okay.
Did you like your former wife?
I liked her. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she was...
Did you like the idea of meeting the family?
I did. I was very excited about meeting the family. I hated the circumstances.
So rules out, maybe you're trying to self-sabotage.
Right. But I am good at that, but that's a different podcast altogether.
Were they nice?
They were nice, and they did laugh about it.
Now, when they laughed, did they laugh out of not being rude, or did you kind of think they thought it was funny?
I think they laughed because I had turned beet red and was very embarrassed by the situation.
So, really, they could have been laughing at you.
Oh, yeah, and I would totally accept that.
Okay.
Yeah.
At that moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And definitely in hindsight, it was even funnier.
It sounds funny.
Yeah.
What did Mrs. Didn't like the beard say?
She was kind of mortified.
And when you say mortified, do you mean like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that, or, well, what the word really means?
I mean, oh my goodness, I can't believe he said that. We'll go with that one. Of course, this was about 11 billion years ago, so I am remembering the vague memories.
Right.
Yeah.
But you'll never forget that exact moment.
Yeah, I will always remember that it happened.
Now, as I have whenever I explain stories, I remember the thought leading into the action.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the moments leading into this phrase you said at the moment?
No, but
Or did it just come out?
Judging by other times where similar things have happened, more than likely, my brain was saying, do not say this exact phrase, to which my mouth just took as, oh, this exact phrase. So that's probably what happened there. My brain tried to save me. My mouth was having none of that.
Okay.
So what's the time you've chewed on toenails?
Let's see. Since we're going with fun ones.
Mm-hmm. Fun ones first.
You know, when Saran asked that question, I really couldn't find an answer. Mm-hmm. Not to say that I am perfect, I've never overstepped my boundaries, but I suppose I just never really thought of it in that way.
Yeah.
So, but I did some soul searching.
Mm-hmm. Which is what our show is all about.
It is. If we're not here for cathartic feels, we're not doing our job.
Exactly.
But I was remembering when Heath Ledger was casted as the Joker.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't, I couldn't deal.
Okay.
And I said some things to my circle of friends, not trolling on the internet like is popular now.
Right.
But I had some thoughts.
So you were on the anti-Ledger bandwagon?
My main argument was this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at the other cinematic Jokers.
Yeah.
And we're just going to say Jack Nicholson mostly.
Yeah.
You know, he was the first, like, movie. Whereas Romero came from the show to a movie.
Right, yeah.
But Jack Nicholson's body of work pre-Joker said it all.
Oh, yeah.
He was highly qualified to play the Joker.
Yeah.
At the time, Heath Ledger's pre-Joker filmography didn't scream the Joker.
I can understand that, yeah.
So, yeah, I was, let's see, how old was I? I was 18 when they announced it. 18, 17, around that area of my life. So, you know, I don't think of many other things, you know, so I only thought of actors and their movies and, you know, their personal lives, or maybe other things they have done pre-movies. Maybe escaped me a little bit.
Okay.
So the really thing I only knew of Heath Ledger was his other body of work.
Yeah.
And it didn't scream Joker.
Yeah, no, 10 Things I Hate About You does not fit with
He
Batman.
was great in movies pre-Joker. That was never the argument. It's just... And this was also, if you remember, days when Christopher Nolan wasn't that guy yet.
Right.
Whenever he does a movie now, you can trust him.
Right.
Whoever he puts, you can trust him. But,
right.
you know, at the time, he really only had 2 solid ones. And, well...
Yeah.
I mean, The Dark Knight obviously made him who he is now.
Oh, definitely.
But, yeah, so I didn't know what he would do with someone like Heath Ledger.
I can definitely understand that, because it's kind of go on a similar thing with that.
And then, of course, you know, how it was all shoved out of my mouth when the movie came out.
Yeah.
I think it shut up a lot of people.
I had a similar feeling about Anne Hathaway with Catwoman.
Really?
Yeah. Mostly because of her previous work. You know, Princess Diaries does not scream Catwoman to me. And similarly, but I learned from the Ledger anti-fans to not say anything, so I kept my mouth quiet, and thankfully did, because she did a great job.
Well, if it's anything, the Ledger thing is now the standard for don't judge until you see it.
Exactly, yeah.
If you ever, like when Affleck was cast as Batman, or yada 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 from there on out, everybody always references Heath Ledger now.
Yeah.
So it shows you, you know.
Yeah, he reset the standard.
He set the standard of, just, you know, we are actors, right? We act.
Yeah.
So just because we haven't done it before.
But in our defense, there are there's probably a majority of the actors, when you see that person, you can expect a certain thing. So in our defense as fans, you know, if somebody said...
And it works on the opposite side, too. Like, when they cast Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't think it was all his fault, but I thought, great.
Yeah.
Good actor. Why not? And then you see it.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, you just get a paycheck.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
but
I hope it was nice, and I hope you bought something pretty.
Yeah. But back to the question, I have noticed, thinking about this question, that sometimes when we shove our foot down our throat, we don't know it until somebody says, hey, you're chewing on your foot there.
Yes.
And one thing that was brought to my attention from our episode last week is that I put my foot in my mouth.
And I did not catch it, so...
Right.
I'm accessory to this.
Yeah, but this is... so what happened? What happened was, as my wife likes to say, is I accidentally insulted one of our fellow podcasters. Mandy from Little Geek Lost. I was talking about one of her episodes where she was telling about herself.
As we are doing now.
As we are doing right now. And I mentioned how that one particular episode didn't really have replayability. Which, as I've talked to Saran, I've talked to you about, I cannot honestly think of any podcast, whether it's hers or Nerdist or anything, where I've listened more than one time. Mostly because I listen to about a dozen or so different podcasts.
Right.
So I don't have a lot of time for reruns. By the time I finish an episode, there's another one waiting for me.
Right.
From The More You Nerd or Night Vale or something like that. So when I said that, I definitely understand why she took it as an insult, and I do apologize.
I apologize
for that. But I did not mean it as an insult at all.
Officially, TeeVo The Beard states our apology.
Yes. And I do believe that people should go out and listen to what she does, because she has some great episodes on there. I've been listening to her for, I think almost a year now.
Wow.
Give or take. And I've enjoyed everything I've heard. And she even has if you're into like paranormal and stuff like that, she has a podcast called The Pie Podcast, or The Pie Show.
Pie,
P-I-E.
Oh.
Paranormal investigation something.
If we are offending you right now, I'm so sorry. I'm catching him right now.
Let me put my foot in my mouth before I finish getting my other foot out of my mouth. I'm gonna put the other one right in there. But yes, go cyanide with two N's. The extra N is for extra awesome. Go find her on Twitter. Go listen to her podcasts. I've even told her that she wants to be on other podcasts where that kind of expand her voiceover work, and I think she should. She's Canadian and she's delightful to listen to. I mean, even when she's, she could be reading the phone book if they have them in Canada. We don't here, so I'm not going to make any assumptions.
So you're saying when you read her comment that made us realize that we had made an error.
Yes, I felt very bad for insulting her. She's great at what she does.
But in the voice, you were still captivated.
Yeah. And I listened to that episode, so just because I say something, just because I say I have not re-listened to something, doesn't mean I did not enjoy it while I was listening to it.
We still mean everything we say about Gotham, though.
Yes, no, Gotham is still crap.
Yeah,
but
that's not fake at all.
But Gotham's not a fellow podcaster that I have supported on the internets for quite a while now.
And if you do want to, we'll watch it.
Yeah, if you want to support us, Gotham, we'll support you.
Yeah. But the only other real time, I guess, I could say something like that was nothing geeky related. But the first job I ever had when I was a teenager, I remember when I first met my assistant manager, I hated him.
Oh, nice.
Because I met him maybe, I think, before I was really hired. I came in to ask where the manager was.
Okay.
And he was not very nice. So therefore, I was like, okay, well, I guess there's going to be somebody I don't like now in this job that I don't even know if I really want. Turned out to be one of the best bosses I ever had. Because, long story short, they separated the store I was working at. So my boss went to that one. And I had a choice of staying with my assistant manager, who then became the manager of the store I was currently working with, or go to the new one. I actually stayed.
Okay.
Well, hey.
Yeah.
Don't ever judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. Don't judge a Heath Ledger by his previous movies.
But yeah, it's just, I always remember that. I always remember my feeling of just preparing to just not like this guy and, be teenage angsty around him. But, he turned out to be a great guy.
Nice.
And he's still a great guy. Whenever I'm home my hometown. He still works there. I always pop in and say hello if I'm around.
Yeah.
Now, the quantity of the times that I'm around, well,
yeah,
you know.
You're not making special trips out there to...
Not making special trips to go
yeah.
see him, but
right.
if I am in the same area, I then make the special trip to go see him.
Yeah.
But I have to be in the town first.
Yeah. When I worked at a big box hardware store, there's an assistant manager there who, if he's there and I have time, I will definitely say hey to, because he was a great guy. But yeah, I'm not going to be like, every time I pass the store, and it's, just like 1 or 2 neighborhoods down, I'm not going to just drive there just to see him. So I definitely understand
hey, but still, great guy, wonderful person to work with. I ended up working with him for 5 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny how things can start off rough and then work out.
Rough as in, the only silver lining was my boss. Who, both people that became my boss in my time at that store, great guys.
Yeah.
So nothing against, the first one. But the only thing I thought, well, he's going to be nice, but everything else, like, oh boy, I'm not going to like this. I don't even know if I'm even going to stay that long. Because being an introverted kid, and the only job experience I've had was working for my parents.
Right.
And by that, they actually did own businesses, and I worked with them. So if you ever go to a Chinese restaurant, you see a little kid there who's taking your order, that was me.
Okay.
When I go to places like that, I go... I was once you.
Okay.
You too can succeed, young man.
Yeah.
Just because you're having to be here 7 days a week. I feel you. I look at him mentally, I'm like, hey, I got you.
Yeah.
Like, I understand how boring this is.
Yeah.
So the only work experience I had was something like that. To go from that to selling shoes.
Ooh.
It's just... And also introverted.
Right.
Because, you work at a restaurant, people are going to come to you.
Right, yeah.
Something like this, you kind of have to make your rounds.
Yeah, I've never been to a restaurant where somebody had to sell me on eating.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've walked into a shoe store and walked out without getting anything.
Exactly. Yeah. So, a lot different approach.
Yeah.
So I had no idea, and I didn't even want to, work there. But like I said, I ended up doing it for 5 years. And it was not a miserable 5 years. It was a miserable month. But beyond that, hey, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, again, foot in the mouth.
Yeah.
So I guess the foot in the mouth does not only apply to my boss, my assistant manager / boss, but the whole experience.
Yeah. I will have to say, though, that sadly, I tend to have more foot and mouth than you do there.
Well, I'm not saying I don't, but as I said earlier, it's not saying I never do it. But
I do like the bigger.
Maybe I just black them out as fast as I can, so that I don't remember.
Or maybe, unlike me, you're better at apologizing sooner, so it doesn't become a whole foot. Maybe you catch yourself better than I do.
I'm gonna say the blackout, though.
Okay, because there have been times that I'll say something and I'll either just mean it as a joke or mean absolutely nothing by it, and then I just watch the look on somebody's face and I'm like, oh, I messed up. And I don't always know how to get back out of that.
You play a rerun in your head.
I do. Yeah.
Well, on to fun stuff.
Yeah, let's get a fun one in here.
So I thought of one. No, don't worry, Saran. We're not mad at you.
Yeah, no, Saran.
I did charge Saran to come up with a fun question because the foot in the mouth could open up fun stuff. Yeah, which we did, but it could open up some not fun stuff.
Yeah, which it kind of did.
So I tasked him with the fun question, but he was going on vacation, so I'm pretty sure he had.
And I'm sure he's having a great time, and
I'm sure
hopefully thinking about us.
Hopefully you're thinking about us, but more hope you're having a good time.
Yeah, if you want to, let your family be like, hey, listen to these fun guys that I work with.
But I thought of one, and I think it's a good one. Usually our fun questions are really simple stuff. Yeah. So, who was your first celebrity crush?
My very first celebrity crush was Raquel.
Well, okay, let's say this. First, if you want to say first, as in, the first or first significant one.
Yeah, well, first I'm going to go with the first.
Okay.
So I've had celebrity crushes all my life, so I can answer this on multiple levels.
Right.
And I'll even add some levels for you to answer it on.
All right.
So my very first celebrity crush was Raquel Welch.
That's a lot of people's.
I know. Well, I've always liked redheads.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I mean, just look at her. You know? So before I even understood what, having a, physical attraction or anything like that was,
you wanted it.
I knew this was attractive to me.
You knew this is, I don't know what it is. I like it.
Right.
And I want to keep this feeling.
Right, exactly.
I think that's a lot of young boys' crushes.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is, but you know you like it.
Exactly. So we'll kind of bounce back and forth. So your very first one.
My very first one that I can remember.
Right, yeah.
Did you watch that show, All That?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember the cast members of All That?
The original cast.
Because everybody remembers Keenan.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the original cast.
Okay.
Not when everybody started growing out of it.
Yeah. Do you remember the cast member, Elisa Reyes?
That sounds very familiar.
She was, well, back then you had Katrina Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
but she has blossomed wonderfully since those days.
Yeah.
You'll agree, Katrina. Come on.
If you're
Don't look at us that way.
I'm sure you're listening to the show. We'd love to have you on for an interview.
Yeah. Angelique Bates and Elisa Reyes. So of those three, you would remember Elisa. And
Okay.
my God. Same thing with Raquel Welch. I just remember, I don't know what it is I like about this whole feeling in general.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Right.
She actually liked one of my pictures on Instagram.
Oh, nice.
The little boy in me was like, yes, I'm so close.
I have achieved.
I'm so close.
Yeah.
But that's what I can remember my first crush.
Yeah.
Now, as you said, we have levels to crushes.
Yeah.
Because it's not so cut and dry, black and white. I have a crush on this person and only this person.
Oh, yeah.
No.
No, especially when it comes to celebrity crushes.
Oh,
I mean,
there are degrees. There are feelings.
Yeah.
There are situations.
Yeah.
There are what else?
There are different roles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you want this one to be like your housewife-ish one.
Right.
And one where, well, hopefully the housewife one doesn't find out about her.
Right, yeah.
Kind of stuff like that. Or one that you want to work with, or one that you want to go to the movies with.
Right. I kind of feel like we need, there's another podcast I listen to called Blame Your Brother, and they have a misogyny alert button. And I have a feeling for this discussion, we may both need it at some point.
Again, we're going to be more conscious about this. If we're offending anyone right now, please know we're coming from a...
If we offend you during this part, fast forward.
Yeah.
But we've all had celebrity crushes, so I think this is a very relatable
Oh, don't worry. My
thing.
next week's question is going to also pertain to crushes as well.
Okay.
I'll give you that after we're done.
Okay, yeah. But my to go with your second one, my first significant crush, this is one that I wrote a letter to.
Oh.
Yeah. And back in the day, you had to write letters. You couldn't tweet or Instagram or anything like that.
Isn't it amazing how technology has accelerated that aspect?
Yeah. I collected magazine articles with her being interviewed in it.
I'm curious to see who it is.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is.
I wrote down her name with my last name. I had our wedding, all that. I mean, you want to talk about crush. This is like the definition of...
Okay, first...
And she was my age. She still is my age, actually. But
I was like, did this person die?
No, she's still very much alive and successful.
But before you reveal who it is,
Yeah.
does Mrs. Beard know?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes, she does. Because we've seen her in something recent, and I brought up the fact that she is back to being a celebrity crush of mine. For a while, she was not, because I'm not going to make this a political thing about drugs and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not attracted to females that are into drugs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not my thing.
Okay.
So this actress got into drugs pretty bad, and I lost my attraction and crushness to her, but it has since reformed.
So for me, there are various degrees on crushes.
Mhm.
Like, I have like maybe a set group that I have a crush on at a moment. Some will be much more intense.
Yeah.
Some may not, but you're on the list. You're golden.
Right.
Are you saying this person maybe dipped down some spots or just fell off completely?
Oh, she fell off completely.
Okay.
When she was having the drug problems, I was like, nope, sorry, my future wife can't be going through these drug problems there.
I really want to know who it is.
I dropped her like Sheryl Crow dropped Lance Armstrong. Oh, deep cut.
It's not Sheryl Crow, is it?
No, it's not Sheryl
Okay.
Crow. No, I said my age. How old do you think I am?
Well, I don't know how old Sheryl Crow is, so...
Good point, yeah. Jodie Sweetin.
Really?
Yes, from Full House / Fuller House.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
And she blossomed very well.
Yes, she did. And again,
Yeah.
post her episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't have guessed that.
But yeah, I always watched Full House when it came on. I don't know if she ever got my letter, because back then you had to get like the address of the channel, so ABC or whatever it was, and then mail them that letter, and then you might get something. I got an autographed picture of Tim Allen by doing that.
Not Jodie.
But no, never.
Jodie Sweetin, however, if you want to come on this show...
Yes, we'd love to have you.
I know
I might have to drop TeeVo from the show at that point.
It's
going to be Jodie and the Beard. Let's make this happen. Come on.
Oh,
Mrs. The Beard might mind that.
So me and Mrs. Beard will be sitting in the wings, just mean mugging the two of you.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
While I sit here oblivious to it all.
Because you'll be stealing something significant of both of ours.
Right.
Okay. So first significance of mine. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a tie.
Oh, okay.
Neve Campbell and Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I can definitely understand both of those. More on the Sarah Michelle Gellar one, but yeah.
Something about Neve Campbell in the years of 98 to 2000. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, she still looks amazing. Yeah. But at the prime of the Neve Campbellness. Mm-hmm. Also, maybe because someone showed me Wild Things. Oh, yeah. If we're gonna be honest,
that is an eye-opening film, right there.
It opened a lot of eyes in many ways for me. Yeah. First of all, up until that movie, I didn't know two women could kiss each other. Oh, yeah. I thought they would die or something. I didn't know
they just explode.
I really didn't know that could be a thing. Mm-hmm. So that blew my mind. Yeah. And then come to find out, then Sarah Michelle Gellar did it in Cruel Intentions. Yeah. So I guess this is just something that they do.
Definitely movies that nobody puts in like their top 10 favorite films, but movies that they do enjoy.
And again, if for anybody that watches Wild Things or Cruel Intentions even, you're telling me you like the story. Right. I call shenanigans.
Then without going to Wikipedia, tell me the story.
Exactly. I mean, I can... Ish.
Yeah.
Ish. But
chances are your mind will probably confuse the two storylines.
But there are certain parts, or in some cases, parked up. Right. That everybody knows. Exactly. We don't have to talk about it. Right. But you know. Yeah. And don't get me started on, there are a lot of other movies that if you tell me you're a fan of that movie, I say, when you say fan, do you mean what I... think you really mean, or are you trying to play me here?
I'm a fan of parts of that movie.
And I am always
honest. Yeah.
Blue is the warmest color.
Yeah.
For anybody that's seen that movie, I'm sorry. There is a particular part I like. If that offends you, I am sorry.
Now, I will stick up for the graphic novel of that movie was based on.
I have heard the graphic novel is great.
You can be a fan of the graphic novel, the entire thing.
Yes. Yeah. But the film?
Yeah. Unless you're French.
Yes. Yeah. Which even then, I'm sure there are French dudes and women who like a very particular part.
Oh yeah.
But to answer degrees, because you asked me this before the podcast. Yeah. So what is one that has been a crush and stayed a crush? I asked you again. Does that mean like maybe this person was the top tier person? Then maybe they kind of fluctuate on ranking. Yeah. But nonetheless, they're still there. Does that count?
Yes.
Okay. Anne Hathaway, hands down.
Okay.
There was a period.
I'll say there's very little explanation that's needed for Anne Hathaway.
Well, again, there was a period where I bought all Anne Hathaway's movies.
Yeah. I saw Princess Diaries 2 in theaters.
I have both Princess Diaries. Yeah. And if they get to making the third one, I will be there.
As long as she's in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's no point if she's not.
Right, yeah.
But I think she probably would do it now. But I bought that. I watched Ella Enchanted. And I watched Havoc. You seen that movie?
Oh, you're the one that watched it. I have not seen it.
Oh, there was, much like with the Wild Things.
Okay.
It was eye-opening.
Oh, okay.
Because there was like, this is not the Princess Diaries.
Right.
Okay. And that was also the year Get Smart came out. So I went on a full Anne Hathaway rampage there.
Yeah.
And
Get Smart was actually done very well. For some, I used to love watching that show on Nick at Night, and I think they did an excellent job, modernizing it.
It did. Mm-hmm. And, she's fluctuated, over the years, but she's always, actually, if someone always asks who's your celebrity crush, if I can't think of one, I always say Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. I can understand that.
She's got that. And there's something about her that's just very likable, despite what the internet may say.
Oh, yeah.
But Anne Hathaway, I've always been on your side.
Yeah. So is this going to become TiVo and the Hathaway?
Oh, boy, I wish.
Right. Then I wouldn't be able to blame you, though. I'd just sit there and watch you two talk, and mostly watch her talk. Yeah. No offense. Well, you're not my celebrity crush.
Well, luckily, at least I won't be offending a Mrs. TiVo of any sort.
That's true.
This person doesn't exist. But she's married.
Yeah.
She's married. Miss Hathaway cannot.
Oh, okay.
But I don't want to break that up.
So to keep going with this for a minute, so we've talked about really big crushes, significant crushes. What is your longest lasting crush?
Do you have one in your head? I think
mine is very easy. Mine is Cassandra Peterson, better known as Elvira. I was
about to let you down severely until you said Elvira.
Yeah,
because when you said Cassandra Peterson, I thought, oh no, I don't know who that is. Then you said Elvira. I was like,
Most people don't know who she is though, because I've seen her in other stuff too, besides the Elvira stuff. But I love the Elvira character. I have the Funko Pop. I have the movies. I have the movies that she, did and all that. I've seen tons of stuff. I have an autographed picture of her, the whole 9 yards, and she has been my crush since the first time I saw Elvira, Mistress of the Night, probably on Comedy Central, more than likely, way back when. And she's never fluctuated. She's always been, my top crush there. And I think she always would. If I ever got a tattoo, which I probably wouldn't, because I can't even keep the wallpaper on my phone the same for a month.
But if you would.
If I would, it would be of Elvira.
Let's see. I'm going to say I went into pure analytical mode when you asked that question. Because first I'm thinking, okay, who's been there in my head the longest?
Right.
Now, who's been consistently ranked?
Right.
In my head. The longest. And a lot different than yours, unfortunately. I can't think of anybody as niche as yours.
Yeah.
But when you asked that question, there was only one person that came to my mind, and that's who I'm sticking with.
Okay.
Jennifer Aniston.
I could definitely understand that. Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston. There has been some times where maybe she hasn't been my main, but
now, was Friends the first thing you saw her in?
Yeah.
I mean, most of us, Well,
it was around the time where Bruce Almighty came out, and I discovered Friends that summer. So I can't remember which one was really first, but nonetheless, that Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
How personal can we get here?
Well, family friendly.
Well, there comes a time in a young boy's life when he discovers parts of his body.
Right.
And, I was thinking Jennifer Aniston when that happened.
Yeah. Understandably.
So, for those who can't decode that.
Yeah.
Well.
Just Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just Google Jennifer Aniston, actually, and that'll answer the previous question.
I did.
Yeah.
I gotta say, but all the people I've mentioned, the Nev Campbells, the Sarah Michelle Gellar's, Jennifer Aniston, Anne Hathaway, and there's plenty more.
Oh yeah,
plenty.
We could do an episode just on crushes.
I mean, if you want to hear that,
then let us know.
We will.
We have time.
We will sound so sexist, but we'll do it.
Because I mean, I have vocal crushes, physical crushes, all sorts of There's probably, if we're going to be totally honest, I can probably throw a guy in there too.
Oh, actually, well, now since you brought that up, that was my idea for next week. Who is your first romance guy crush? Man crush.
We'll definitely get on that one next week.
That's what I mean. If we're.
But now our audience has something to look forward to.
My intention with this question was to segue into next week as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
that's what we call a teaser right there in the podcast world.
And we'll think of something real for to offset that one.
Yeah.
Because we got to have real and fun.
Yeah.
But that's going to be our Get to Know Your Podcasters.
Okay. So we're going to have a little spoiler warning in the middle here, and then we'll start talking about iZombie.
Excuse me! Spoiler alert!
And we're back.
And shocker, I'm going to reveal this to you, listeners, and the beard.
Okay.
I was on special mission this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them, of which I cannot say yet.
Yeah.
But I did not watch iZombie.
Well, I know I'm grateful that you're back on time, and I'm sure, based on our listenership on episodes where I've done by myself, our audience is glad that you're back on time. But I was ready to do a solo episode. I'm glad I don't have to, but then finding out, but I kind of am, yeah.
So what happened?
Nothing.
Nothing
happened.
I was prepared that, like our viewers who don't watch our shows when we do, who listen to our synopsis as their way of catching up.
Right.
I figured I was going to be in for a rip-roaring adventure. It's the finale, right?
Well, it's the episode before. It's the
arc of the finale.
Right, yeah.
Nothing happened?
No, what they've done with this episode is they could have taken all the good parts of this episode and did the first 5 minutes of the final episode. And that would have been perfect, because this episode was all about setup. But the problem is, and we've seen this in other CW shows, the problem is they stretched out everything. A lot of it was good setup stuff, but none of it needed to be done to the extent that they did it.
Okay, so here's the thing. I, in preparation of at least trying to connect with you on the episode, I wikied it.
Right. As
I do with shows that I either can't watch or I don't feel like watching, or a good combination of both.
Right.
It sounded like it was interesting, so I'd like to hear your opinion on why it was not.
It could have been interesting if this was an episode of Pretty Little Liars or Gossip Girl or something like that.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
How so? Like, are you speaking of... I read a thing where, so apparently Liv eats a sex addict brain?
Yeah, so let's, we'll kind of break this down character by character like we do on the good episodes.
Yes. And the bad.
And the bad, yeah. And now the worst.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know,
So we're gonna...
you know what, before we start?
Yeah.
I'm open for next week's episode to change my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
But on special mission... I was talking about iZombie, and this person doesn't have regular TV access.
Okay.
So they are really at the mercy of Hulu's and Netflix and various other streaming programs.
Right.
So they only are able to watch iZombie. Well, I guess I could have told her about CW, but that's
Thankfully, we're not sponsored by CW because that would have been a big ball drop right there.
But if you want to, I will. I will wear it all the time.
Oh yeah.
But nonetheless, this person only watched the iZombie on Netflix.
Okay.
And I did make the proclamation. I said, I was loyal these all 3 years so far. Unless something next week changes, I think I might join you there.
Hasn't that been our CW battle cry this year, though?
Well, here's the thing. Supergirl and The Flash has a lot more at stake than iZombie.
Yeah.
To where if you mess up a specific plot of something, that just kind of ruins the show. iZombie is a little not as dramatic.
Right.
It's just my enthusiasm of watching it every week.
Yeah.
That has, kind of shifted back and forth. So
I definitely understand
that. I did say out loud, I think, I'm very much leaning towards waiting till Netflix gets a hold of it. Which, luckily for us, if we do that, they upload really fast.
They do. It's like not the day after the finale or something like that.
It's not like we're waiting a long time.
Right.
So, just want to put that out there. Maybe next week's episode will change it.
It could.
It could.
I mean, that kind of happened for both Supergirl and Flash Force. We talked about giving them up, and then last episode drug us right back in there.
Yep.
So it could happen with iZombie.
I'm not hopeful.
I'm not as hopeful this time around.
But if for anybody that actually works on iZombie and listens to us, thank you, by the way, if you're there. But
well, they're not there anymore.
We're not saying we're not going to watch it.
Right, we're just going to
I never said that. I did say that about Flash, for
That's
sure.
True. Yeah.
But I'm not saying I'm not watching it if it's unsatisfactory. I'm just saying maybe I won't help your CW numbers.
Right, yeah.
I will help Netflix numbers.
Which, depending on which one you want.
You know, it's become very important. So this is not a proclamation of total abandonment. Slight.
That might have been their plan all along to get everybody to watch it on Netflix.
So this is a slight abandonment.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Major first. Go ahead and get that one out the way.
I read that he was outed. So that
Chase knows that he's human now. And Natalie has come back into the picture.
You know how bad it is? Sometimes Major's storylines, you want to know how bad it is? I had to Google find on the article to remind myself who Natalie was.
When she started texting them, because that's how we get reintroduced to her, she's texting them, and she sends a picture of herself in front of the Space Needle. When it shows her, even showing her there, I'm like, who is Natalie? Because I was like, is that the girl that had the template? No, that was a different one.
I was like, good, we had the exact same thought.
Yeah. So not only does Major have unmemorable parts, he has unmemorable girlfriends in the story also. And the only reason I know her name is because during the text it showed the name Natalie above there. So I was like, okay, so this one actually has a name where Tumblr girlfriend is just that, Tumblr girlfriend.
She might have a name.
She might.
I don't know it.
But yeah, so he's outed. Come to find out, though, all of his zombie comrades there, his troop, they didn't want him to leave, so they're going to throw him this big kegger going away party thing.
Very nice of them.
Yeah.
But I also read something bad happened.
Yes, they had a special guest. One of the rednecks who became a zombie via the previous episode of this, has infiltrated the party, and he is suited up serial bomber, killer style. Awesome, right. So he's going
First
in there.
of all, I'm asking out, how is that dull?
Well, I didn't say that. Even to be the worst episode of the series, there are still going to be these little good parts. But that is one minor, 2-second part, literally, because he comes in there, they're about to kick him out, he says, zombies are abominations, we're all abominations here, blows up the party. Now, since Natalie is now human, we assume she doesn't survive, and we don't know the, casualties of the other zombies that were in the party, because this was, towards the end of the episode.
Right.
So, because...
Obviously meant for us to keep us on the edge of our seat until next week.
Right, and that part does have me interested, because I don't care if Natalie survives.
We haven't seen her enough.
Right, but Major was outside at the time, and I am curious about how and if the other zombies that were at the party survive. Because you assume they're not all going to get blown completely up, depending on how close they were.
So Major was outside.
He was outside,
Why?
Yeah. Because he was talking to Liv's boyfriend, whose name I can't... Justin, yeah.
So we know that Major's okay.
Major's okay and Justin's okay.
Oh. Well, I really don't care now.
Yeah, so like I said, it was a really...
See, my synopsis failed to mention that. So I read it going, oh, I hope Justin's okay.
Oh,
I kind of like... Well, see, there you go.
Yeah. It's more interesting to me on a geeky, scientific way to see what can zombies really make it through. But yeah, Natalie, gone. If they make her survive this, it's going to be through some sort of contrived way. She was human when this happened, so she's dead as far as I'm concerned. But that gets Major out of the way, because that was all his stuff right there. Our other favorite character, of course, is Peyton. So the mayor wants to hire her as the chief of staff, his right-hand person, because he knows, but at least he thinks he knows that she knows about zombieism.
Okay.
even though she's never directly told him, and she's still trying to hide the fact, even when he really starts he basically asks her everything except, hey, don't you know I'm a zombie? Because he says things like, hey, you know about this kind of stuff, wink, wink. And so it's up in the air, though, if she's going to actually take the job or not. And that is supposed to keep us on our seats.
Huh.
But we don't care.
No, I don't.
No. It's like, she stays a DA assistant, fine. She goes and becomes the right-hand man, fine. It doesn't really...
Well, you know, as we've been saying, since the beginning of the season, they gotta find something for her to do.
Yeah. But I could tell, if my costume theory is correct, that the writers and costume designers also know we don't care because she wasn't dressed in anything, you know, provocative or revealing to grab our attention like in past episodes. So 2 characters, done, right there. So I hate putting Ravi. Ravi kind of fits in the middle of characters we care about, don't care about in this episode.
I was about to say, I was like, what? We like Ravi.
We do like Ravi. But he didn't play a crucial part in this episode.
Okay.
His reporter girlfriend tries to make amends.
Okay.
He mans up, though. He does not, you know, with Peyton, he was all puppy dog trying to follow her around. With the reporter girl, he was like, no, you used my quotes, my information for your story. Not cool. And he literally shows her the door. He says, this is the door, it leads out to the loading docks, follow the signs.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, go Ravi.
Good job, Ravi.
Yeah. So he's not going to be... Because I thought for a minute he was going to fall for her little apology thing. But for one, she brings in boring coffee. We know that...
Okay, pause. We here at TeeVo The Beard differ opinions on coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't drink it.
Right.
Just because I don't.
I'm always drinking it.
So, when you say boring coffee, what does that to non-coffee people?
Well, for Ravi,
okay,
boring coffee is black coffee with packets of sugar. Because previous to the reporter coming in there, Ravi was talking to Liv, and Liv was ordering him a coffee, and he requested some sort of mocha, froca, kappa, latte, chai, soy, concoction thing.
So those things.
One of those things, yeah. So yeah, boring coffee is coffee with sugar. So, but he doesn't play a huge part in this. I think they were just kind of using him to get rid of the reporter storyline because we don't care about her. She put Liv on the front of the alt weekly.
But
paper.
Obviously, we like her more than Major's Tumblr girlfriend.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but she's not.
Who may or may not have a name.
Yeah, but Ravi's girl is not a good guy by any means, as far as our main group is concerned.
All right.
So, and then Clive also doesn't have much going on, but I have no appreciation for the actor because I've watched Whose Line Is It Anyway, and he was a guest star on there, and I almost fell off the couch laughing. So I kind of saw a different side seeing a different side of the actor kind of made me appreciate the character Clive more.
So because I've never fallen out of love with Clive. Mm-hmm. It's just and you have multiple times recognized that they don't do anything with him.
Right.
It's hard to like someone if they don't do anything.
Right.
So you're saying, he's winning you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. But again, he was not used enough in this episode. We don't really know much more about the main case that he was going on, the little Wally case.
Uh-huh.
But he does get to do actual detective stuff in this one. And the reason that I bring up the Whose Line Is It Anyway story is because in this episode of iZombie, we find out he's kind of not necessarily a germaphobe, but a pandemic-phobe.
Okay.
Because that virus flu thing that's going around.
Right.
They're interviewing people that may or may not have it.
Uh-huh.
And so he's kind of in the corner while Liv and Ravi are doing most of the talking during the interrogations. And it's one of those things where if I wouldn't have seen before that he has a true comical side, I wouldn't have enjoyed as much as I did watching him in this order.
Okay.
So it was still good, but it was better, knowing what I know now. I got more of a laugh out of it, and thankfully something gave me a laugh in this, because Liv did not.
Oh.
So Liv ate a brain, of. And I did not realize her last name was. I printed out the Wikipedia thing.
Uh-huh.
I did not realize that iZombie is horrible at naming people. For one, we have a zombie named Liv Moore. We have a corporation that was run by Fillmore Graves, whose son is named Chase, and he is literally doing that. He is chasing after zombies to find them. But Ravi's old boss is named Katie Cups. Kupps. And if Katie Cups does not look like an adult film actress's name, then I don't know what does. I thought her name was just Katie. So, she is murdered. She's dead. We didn't care about her, so that's not important. What is important is Liv eats her brain. And we find out that Katie Cups, whose name makes even more sense now, is a sex addict.
Oh.
And goes around from bar to bar picking up random guys. One of those random guys we know from the past, she didn't pick up in a bar, she knew already, was Ravi. So, the only flashbacks, the only little visions that Liv gets is of Ravi.
Now that sounds comical.
Oh, it was comical, because she has seen them in the act.
Oh.
Yeah. Two visions. One that is the foreplay to the act, and then one that is the actual act itself. So, those are comical, but they are, like we've talked about before, she ate this brain for really no reason. Sure, it leads to her and Chase having a little mini affair, but besides that, it didn't help the case. Anything that happened that did help the case was very contrived by the writers. There was no actual, story to it. And then they throw in the Ravi stuff for comic effect.
So you just gave me the highlights.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was basically the story. If you take parts of what happened to each character...
What about Blaine?
He wasn't in it.
What?
No.
At all?
At all.
And Donnie?
Nope.
Really?
Really.
So the biggest players of the season so far have nothing to do with part 1 of the finale.
No, but I have seen the preview for part 2.
Okay.
And I have seen some familiar faces in that, so... But if you would have taken...
Because I read said wiki summary, and I thought maybe they just... whoever uploaded it just omitted Blaine's part.
Nope.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. But if you would have taken, a minute from each person's storyline and made it the beginning of the final episode, it would have worked perfect. You find out that Liv cheated on Justin with Chase. That puts a little wrench in their relationship. You find out there's been an explosion and a lot of zombies may or may not be dead, and they were killed by what I'm going to call a redneck rogue zombie. And then you find out that Rav has kicked the reporter girl to the curb. You got it all, basically, right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Classic setup.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it did a lot to set up for what hopefully will be a great episode, but it was not the bookend that I was hoping for. Since we started with 2 strong episodes, I thought we were going to end with 2 strong episodes.
Because last week was a good one.
Last week was good, yeah. But sadly, it was good by our season 3 standards.
Yes.
Yeah. If we would have seen
so it was a good one, a strong one to potentially end it with an asterisk by it.
Exactly.
But maybe these are just signs of the show as a general, because we weren't obviously doing this TeeVo and the Beard during season 2,
right?
But there were many episodes that I forgot.
Oh yeah,
100% forgot.
Yeah,
because there are let's say with the Flash, season 1, season 2 have episodes that I had no real recollection of watching again. But I know what they are.
Right, yeah. Because there was enough little stuff in there that connected.
Yes. Whereas iZombie, especially in season 2, a little bit with season 3 now.
Yeah.
Shockingly, because they had half the episode order. But hey, that's besides the point. But Another show I watch on Freeform is Switched at Birth.
Mm-hmm.
One of the actors on that show, he's a deaf actor.
Right.
And on his IMDb, it says he was in an episode of iZombie. I don't remember.
I don't either, because you would think that would be...
I'm like, well, okay, he's a deaf actor, so his dialogue probably was in ASL.
Right.
I don't remember that. And I guess and you know what, sadly enough, to go on with the whole Netflix thing, I don't think I even cared to revisit.
Was he one of the... No, hold on. This might
You're having a vision?
It might trigger a vision. No, I'm not sure. But was he one of the actors that played on the Teen Zombie show within iZombie?
I'm gonna need a plot summary.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
But I know his face.
Okay.
And yeah, sure, I wasn't watching the show I do know him from when I probably watched that episode of iZombie.
Yeah.
But again, deaf actor, I think I would somewhat remember that.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Yeah.
So that just shows you iZombie.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think there's hope for it.
Well, what do you think about the switching to only Netflix iZombie?
It's really going to depend on this last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this last episode, the preview for the last episode was really good.
Okay.
It looks like an iZombie episode.
Right.
Versus a Gossip Zombie or Pretty Little Zombies or whatever, whatever pun I can think of. A zombie soap opera.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll have better things. As in
Yeah.
I am accepting... Oh, yeah, I am accepting no special missions.
Yeah.
Anytime soon.
It's the final episode, so you kind of have to watch it. Yeah.
So we will be able to talk about it more.
Yep.
Until then.
Yep. And see you next week. And that's it for this week, folks. Thank you again for listening. And remember, you can follow us on social media. We are on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. All you've got to do is go to one of those sites, type in And the Beard. That's ANDTHEBEARD, and you're sure to find us. We hope to see you there. Have a great week.